$2.3 billion doesn't count for much.
Actually, the status is, as on today, is that they got first tranche of 1 billion yesterday, and
Yes, forgive
1.4
me.
is
Somebody in my PCI
additional.
crew will sort that out, sir. Somebody just be alert, please, so that we can do this. Thank you. Yes, go ahead, General.
So that is one thing. Their source of ammunition, source of their armament are only two. One is China, other is Turkey. Azerbaijan doesn't count for much. And to my mind, it is Turkey and China. Now, with the kind of thing which is then done in North Arabian Sea, the kind of thing which has been done at 4 air bases, Turkey's capability to land is that much reduced. China, of course, still has got because of access from Xinjiang side. So therefore, whatever is coming to them from China. Now, China is not giving them the best of the best because after all, they're equivalent to S-300 they gave in terms of HQ-16, but that has been destroyed by us. We have been able to do a very pinpoint targeting of all their assets. Their response sustainability is quite questionable to my mind. It is not Ukraine versus Russian state because Ukraine was a hell of a lot supported by US and Europe. No such benefactor is with Pakistan. So therefore, at some point in time, their capability to respond would be ebbed in next, to my mind, not more than a week they will be able to last.
Okay,
So
so
that is what
yes,
my
it is logical to share your assessment that at this point of time, Turkish shipping and airlifting to Pakistan in large measures to actually make an air bridge. You'll need an air bridge with flights landing every hour to replace munitions which are being expended at the rate of 5 rounds per minute per gun on the LOC. So, simply sending 2 or 3 planes ain't going to hack it. That's just a couple of minutes of ammunition up and down the LOC, literally. So, Turkey, yes. But yes, do we now suspect that lorry loads from China are on the way and potentially ship loads are also on the way?
Yes, of course. But this is where two things have to be taken into account. One is the unstable state in Gilgit Baltistan, because they will have to pass through Gilgit Baltistan, which is in the range of our artillery. Secondly, the kind of thing which we can do it in Punjab, which we have shown, even China will not find it very easy to move that much of logistic support as they would have loved to do in this kind. Second thing is intent of China. Would China like to support as much as we think that they will be doing it? They have their own interest. They have their that will they like to antagonize India so much that India becomes that LAC becomes volatile. So their interest in Taiwan is impacted. To my mind, no. They have got the trade, the economic equations with India. They cannot, in their state of economy, they cannot afford to lose that 100 billion surplus which they have with India. So therefore, China's response would be much muted than what
Okay.
we are
China's
anticipating.
diplomatic response has been rather muted. After the hugs and kisses, immediately after Pahalgam, when push has come to shove, they've actually come out and condemned terrorism. But yes, the Chinese can say something and do something completely the opposite. Are they making all possible efforts to ensure that the Pakistan state, its establishment, sustains? The Chinese love to cause damage without fighting a war. So they don't mind if the damage is caused by the Pakistanis to India as long as they are not in it. So will they probably enter the war? Probably not. Will they start firing on us? Probably not. But will they do everything possible to supply the Pakistanis? Probably yes. Let me get AVM Kak into this conversation. Emma Kak, in what is your assessment given what we have now seen in the second night, which obviously seems an escalation from night number one?
Yeah, clearly. I think it would have been foolhardy on our part to say that Pakistan would not continue to escalate up to a point and then go down the curve to de-escalate. And this process is important. I think you raised a very profound question at the beginning. it needs to be visited. The decision-making apex body in India, the Prime Minister met the Defense Minister, NSA, the chiefs only yesterday to take a review of the situation as to how to proceed further. I think you also made another very important point. What was our job? What was our objective? I think our objective has been met. Clearly, Prime Minister had said he will go after the terror infrastructure. Now we can delineate there, should we go against, to use Hindustani, Bandar ko target karna hai ke Madari ko target? Bandar being the elements which are terror infrastructure and Madari being the deep state of Pakistan. That part is a little problematic. I think both Commodore Singh and my other colleagues have said it, and I'm glad that has been said. The atmosphere within your studio, NewsX, and you as the Commander-in-Chief is quite different from what it was yesterday. Because I think today we are looking at it far more maturely, far more systematically, and far more analytically. The third point I wish to make, and I think this was made by you as also others, yes, China will play a game. China will say something, do something, but my own understanding as a result of participation both in the 65 and the 71 war is that China makes noises, but actually when it comes to the ground, it will not want this war to continue. You would have also noticed diplomatically, there's quite a difference between the Chinese position before Pahalgam and Chinese position post-Pahalgam. It is not talking, it's not giving an outright support to Pakistan. It's saying two neighbors are at war and we would like the situation to de-escalate. But for purposes of serving the psychological interests of the Pakistan army, it may well, Gilgit-Baltistan logistics line, they can well manage and control, and they can supply whatever is required to be supplied. As to the international community's pressure, the phones are burning. And I think that pressure is being put to Pakistan. The difficulty is that Pakistan army, for its own domestic constituencies, must not, in their view, be seen as having yielded to Indian grand strategy, which was to target the terror infrastructure, target the air defense system that's been publicly stated by the government, 4 target systems in Lahore, 1 of them destroyed, 3 probably neutralized. So also the barrage of unmanned vehicles and drones have now also been counterbalanced by the attacks which have recently been reported by the government on the emanating launch pads of those drones. That action is already
all
being
right.
taken.
But I have a quick follow-up question before the briefing begins, Air Marshal Kak, because some of these drones, we have been officially told this, and now we can visually see the remnants which are being found in the fields of Western India. These are really tiny, small drones, okay? Not very expensive, high-value drones. You know the kinds of drones that are being used in Ukraine are very small ones. They're very inexpensive. They cost only a couple of $1,000s. So then potentially you can have large amounts of them, and it is called you're harrying us, you're harassing us, and potentially this can go on for a long period of time. These drones can be procured in tens of thousands of quantities, and then remains a risk that while you're not causing any significant damage and we are countering them, but nonetheless there is an air raid siren, nonetheless there is tracer fire and interruption. So it could be a new stratagem. So how long can we sort of tolerate this, that okay, you keep doing this every night?
That's why, it is a politico-military and politico-diplomatic response that we'll have to. I have my own sources, in fact, in some cases, my own relatives in Jammu have told me the kind of blackouts that have occurred and confirmed what you just said, Rishabh. These are tiny little drones. It's in the garden of somebody's house. And this has now reached a stage from not having boots on the ground both sides, having boots in the air both sides, and now harassment operations by Pakistan. We have to take this into our calculus. I'm sure a review yesterday would have brought this out very clearly.
Yes.
I can only second guess. And what would be our response? That's why the international community's role is extremely important, because they alone can sort of beat down the heads of the Pakistan army, particularly, that stop this. Otherwise, there could be an escalation now from Indian
Okay.
side.
All right. Okay. Just stay with me. General Chaturvedi wants to come in. Go ahead, sir.
What Marshal Kak said, very interesting thing, that to that I would like to say that today I understand that Marco Rubio had a word with Asim Munir, which shows that they also realized that who caused the shot in Pakistan. Till yesterday they were talking to NSA, to the Prime Minister and all those things, but now they realize that it is only Asim Munir. My own sense is that terminal objective of India has to be to reduce the credibility of Pak army. And that can be done only in case if they are given a comprehensive beating on many grounds. Our aim should not be to capture any territory, rather degrade Pakistan army in many ways. And that is the best thing which we will be doing it.
Okay, fair enough. Commodore Singh, so then what of course we don't want to see is the Pakistanis, and it seems a stratagem, and we've learned these stratagems in the past 48 hours. We've learned that the time they open the civilian airspace is the time when they're undertaking a strike. Otherwise, the civilian airspace is closed the entire day, but they open it in the evening. They are hoping that we by mistake shoot down a civilian aircraft, and then that becomes an international scandal, and then that forces us to back off. So that's one stratagem. The other tactical stratagem seems to be that keep peppering us with insignificant drones that are not really meant to do anything. They're just meant to harass you, harass the local population, you know, like I said, cause the air raid sirens, cause a blackout, interrupt people's lives. Now think about it. A blackout does not only mean only electricity. If the power grid is being switched off from behind, you know, your fridge goes off, your air conditioning unit goes off, you have a difficult night into millions of people. So it's a harassment operation. Now this harassment operation potentially with these small drones can go on for a period of time. You know, how do we manage a situation like this if this is what's happening?
No, I think sooner rather than later we will run out of patience if they try and continue with these sort of tactics for a long time. At the moment, it's just been 3 or 4 days, so it's not really. If most of the army experts on various channels have said that this is basically what they call a probing operation to see how robust are your air defenses. If they were tomorrow to launch an airstrike into India, what is the sort of response they would get? What is the sort of retaliatory Indian response from the air defense?
I'll interrupt you. The press briefing, the MOD press briefing is beginning. Let's listen in.